Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That is Eric over there.
Hello.
That is Vanessa over there.
Hello.
I am Kelly. Hey, guys. Hey, gang. I just got back from the Portland Horror Film Festival.
Oh my God.
Hot
the
ma'am,
Portland
how
Horror
was it?
Well, our short film, The Connoisseur, showed
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It opened the final block of the weekend, which was the Shorts Gone Wild.
Festival. Ooh.
And it was very well received. I was
Yay!
really
Excellent.
surprised. It was my first time seeing it on a big screen, an actual theatrical big screen. And I was really pleased with the crowd reaction. Like Eric has said before, they laughed at all the right spots. They
Aw.
groaned at all the right spots. And I was like, oh, this made me feel like I had done something right.
Yeah.
Aw.
Did you get any of the moment where people realize what's going to happen noises?
Yeah, there is the
Love
moment when everyone kind of goes, oh, no. And the festival itself, really cool. These are the badges when you're a
That
filmmaker.
is
that the
sick.
coolest looking thing? I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Ah.
acrylic plastic carved out and everything. Very cool.
That's beautiful.
And Gwen told me they've been doing that since day one there
wow.
for 9 years.
Oh my gosh.
And if you're a weekend attendee, you get one too.
Yeah. I got one. I did the streaming,
Okay.
and they sent a streaming version kind of thing like that. And yeah, those are just so cool, man.
Yeah, I was like,
Oh,
how come
man.
not at the Lovecraft Film Festival? And she's like, God, there's 10 times more people there. It's too expensive.
That's fair.
Oh, okay. That makes
Is
sense.
the
You know what? That would be such a good tier though. Like, hey, you want to come to the film fest and get this special badge?
Ah,
Like
Gwen,
spend an
if you're
extra
listening.
$10.
drop in a
Come
little
on,
extra?
Gwen, do it. Do it. Do
Part
it.
of the Kickstarter thing that they
Yeah.
do so well every year. Is that just at the Clinton Street Theater?
No, it is Wednesday, Thursday. I think it might only be Wednesday, Thursday, or maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at the Hollywood Theater where the Lovecraft
Okay.
Film Festival is done. But it's only nighttime showings there.
Mm.
Ah.
And then it goes Saturday and Sunday, all day film marathons at the Clinton.
Mhm.
And you know how much I love the Hollywood, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you haven't been to the Clinton Street
I have
Theater.
not.
This theater was made for me.
Oh.
Oh, really?
On one side of the theater, literally.
Booze service to the chairs?
Well, funny you say that.
Oh my god.
There is alcohol in the theater,
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
but the door right next to the theater door on one side is the trashiest dive bar you have ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Just amazingly trashy. And I was
Wow.
like, okay, this is fantastic. On the other side, a kind of hoity-toity Italian restaurant
Oh,
with
shit.
lovely drinks and wine and all this stuff. And then directly across a kind of groovy, just bar that's decorated in black velvet posters and things that I hate. Um,
Oh, yeah.
and as you know, if you've ever hung out with me at a festival, I'm really bad at attending the
Yes.
actual festival, but I'm really good at stealing people from the festival and having them drink with me. And I met a really cool guy named Jake Myers who had a film in our block.
Hmm.
And we ended up at the Italian place and hit it off really well. And we were the only two filmmakers from the Shorts Gone Wild block. So we got up and said a few things about the film. And then I also met Gretchen Brooks, who is the co-host of the Kaiju Cast and the People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos podcast.
Wow.
And I think we've got a possible co-host for Amityville. She was
Oh,
like, oh, you guys doing it at
excellent.
Amityville? And I was like, yeah. She goes, I want to do that. I was like, you'll be sorry you asked.
That's right. Although I
That's
did see
awesome.
the Amityville Horror, the final film, has now come out, I believe it's called.
Oh.
So that means they're done. They're not going to be anymore.
Huh.
Excellent.
Because that's how that always works,
I'm
right?
glad somebody was like, you know what? We're done. I think as a mass, I'm going to go ahead and finish this one up, guys.
But we need to get a few more of those in the can soon.
Yeah, yeah. Also, I will say this. So I didn't see any feature films there, but I watched all the short blocks on Saturday and Sunday, and there was not a bad film in them.
Wow.
And Eric, you know how nice the Connoisseur looks and everything?
Yeah.
Still the least of the bunch of these. I was just like going, what is going on here? And then at one of the Q&As afterwards, some asshole in the audience has the balls to ask all the filmmakers who are standing up there, what was the budget for your film?
Oh.
And they told him, and I wanted to throw shit at these filmmakers and everything, because one of them's like, well, we budgeted at $20,000, but we lost it. So it cost about $14,000. One of the short films cost $50,000.
Oh my
I worked on a
was like,
short.
what the fuck?
I worked on a short
Jesus.
that was $70,000.
Who has this kind of money?
The Connoisseur is what, $70?
I was hoping somebody would ask, what was the budget on that? I was like, I don't know if there was a budget. There was a food budget.
Yeah. Showed up and shot for what? 10 hours maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
And then you had a pickup.
That's why we love Stefan.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know. I would have explained. We just called in a lot of favors.
Yeah.
Of 10 years of being nice guys.
I feel like short films are such an important space to learn how to make films using the method of beg, borrow, and steal.
Yeah.
It is so valuable to figure that out. Like, I shot a short film that Eric has seen many times, Heart, and I begged to use a school.
What?
I borrowed costumes, I got people's time for free. I think I spent some money on just a couple of small decorations and on the cost of putting together some animal horns for people's heads. And that was about it. I mean, the whole thing only cost, I think, $300 or something.
Yeah.
But
Looks
yeah.
good too. I mean, 50 grand, I'd be like, okay, if I double or triple this, I can do a feature. So if I've got 50 grand in the can, I can go, or in my bank, I can go to other film investors.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
I've got 33% of my budget. You want to fill in the rest?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these
Exactly.
films looked spectacular, but I was like,
Yeah.
what do you do now with a $50,000 short film?
Unless you're planning on using it as a pitch piece to get a feature version of that film, then you've wasted your money.
Yeah, I hope that that's what this was about, because it was a really cool idea.
Yeah.
And now I can't remember the name of the film, too, because I can't tell you to go out and watch it. But I will say this. Everything I saw there was really good. There was this bizarre Japanese haunted umbrella thing that was super gory, and there was something culturally I was missing because there was kind of an umbrella fight at the end, and I was like, I feel like I'm supposed to be taking this very seriously.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, though, and it just everything was amazing. It was a real blast of a weekend. And
Well, I'll tell you what, Kelly, if you remember the name of any of those, feel free to post it on our Facebook chat group for any of our listeners who would like to join us
you go.
there.
what's that called again?
That's Strange Eons Radio Talk.
Yeah.
Or Gwen, if you want to do that.
I don't
Feel
think-
free to.
I don't think Gwen's part of that group, is she?
I
She
thought
is.
Brian or Gwen was.
Yeah, she is.
If not, Gwen, join our group.
Yeah.
Brian, join our group.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about a couple of things. None of them that I saw that weekend.
Okay.
Okay.
But I did see The Acolyte, which is the new
Oh,
Star
yes.
Wars.
Yes.
new-
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I'm caught up on that.
Yeah? If you had told 10-year-old Kelly in 1980
Mhm.
that every 3 months there was going to be a new Star Wars thing on television or in the theaters,
Uh-huh.
and that he'd be bored silly, he would have just been like, you're insane.
Yes.
How could Star Wars ever be bad? This is just, I think I'm done with Star Wars.
Oh, no.
I don't, what is going on with
I
this?
saw a great tweet, actually, it may have been Matt, put out that was, when did you lose faith or something like that with Star Wars? And the answer was like, you know what? I think I agree. was midi-chlorians.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
I haven't been really interested in a Star Wars movie. Well, a few I've liked, but yeah, that was sort of like, okay, this is going routes that I am not sure what to think of.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved Rogue One, and then I
Yeah.
mostly loved Andor.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
and there's been bits and pieces of other things, but we're, at this recording, 3 episodes into The Acolyte, and I'm just bored.
I can't disagree. So it reminds me a lot of the problem that I find with Star Trek Discovery, where they've got a real Mary Sue issue. Like the main character is so boring.
Michael?
She's so uninteresting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael is the least interesting part of Star Trek Discovery, and that's the same of the Acolyte. And you get her twice. You get to have a boring person twice. But the thing that I do like about it is the guy from Squid Game, who's
Sure.
murdering it. He's so fun to watch, but other than that, it's really not that good.
Yeah, and also once I realized that we were going to go the good twin and the evil twin route, I was
Mhm.
like, we are?
Really?
I would have loved to find out that this was a split personality with the
Oh,
Force or something
Yeah.
interesting or different,
Yeah.
but we've got good and bad siblings now. Again,
Still?
I like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Not for me. The Acolyte.
Well, I checked out something. Ryan Reynolds is in a film currently called If. That's
Oh,
out in
yes.
theaters. Stands for Imaginary Friends, but don't call them that.
That's right. Yes.
I hadn't heard much about this, and I was like, oh, I want to check it out. It looks cute. Like, I'm always down for like a good kids movie. I did not get it. I did not get a good kids movie out of this. It was so stupid.
Maybe that's why you've heard so little about it. The advertising push for this was
It's huge.
really. I thought it was small for the kind of movie
Oh,
it is.
no, they have food endorsements. I went to IHOP right before this just for funsies. They had an entire IHOP if menu. I've been seeing stuff for this everywhere. I think like they really wanted to push it, but it's a John Krasinski film,
Yeah.
and it's written like he wants to make a Spielberg movie very badly. The way it's shot, the story, but the beats, everything. But he doesn't have the right cast. He doesn't have the right shots. He doesn't have the right story. It feels like it's not quite for kids with the themes, because it feels more like Toy Story 3, where it's really like adults and growing past your childhood and all that kind of stuff. But then for adults, it'd be boring as snot. Just not that interesting. There's a zillion characters with a zillion famous voices that I couldn't
Yeah.
tell you, who was playing who in there. It does not matter. I don't know why they hired those people. It's completely like miscast. The only cool person in it is Ryan Reynolds, and his character. I was like, from the trailer, I was like, I wonder if Ryan Reynolds' character, and can I spoil this movie?
I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. If you're planning on seeing this, please stop listening for like 1 minute. I wonder if Ryan Reynolds is this little girl's imaginary friend, because why else would a grown man be hanging out with a little girl and trying to like help this whole agency of imaginary things? Like, I bet he's her imaginary friend. They don't tell you, but they sure hint at it with long shots at him saying things like, oh, I've always been with you, or, my job is to make you happy, or whatever.
Jesus.
And in the last like 3 minutes, they're like, oh, he's her imaginary friend that she just forgot about because she just aged out of imaginary friends. I was like, I spent the entire fucking movie going, just get there. Just say it. This is so stupid. I cannot stay here one more second without you guys like just tell them. Just why? Why are we here? So it's a very frustrating movie for anyone who has any kind of intellect.
Oh my.
I'll say this. I never had an imaginary friend.
Mhm.
But everybody else's imaginary friends are these wacky monsters, basically from Monsters Inc. And this young girl imagined this smoking hot dude as her imaginary friend.
Well, he was a clown in her, but he
Oh,
took off his makeup because he lost his purpose.
I see.
This reminds me of, and I don't know if people are interested, I'll dig up and get you the name for it. But years ago at MIF, we had this short film
Mhm.
that was Spanish, I believe, and this fabulous, it's about a half an hour one about uh, a pep talking, inspirational speaking imaginary friend who speaks to all the imaginary friends that have lost their children,
Yeah.
have had
Oh,
how to feel good about themselves and
Oh.
find new
I
purpose.
remember that
that
one.
is the
Yeah.
So
same
good.
plot.
So good. That was really
Wow.
good.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, I mean, Toy Story is also really good. It's the
Mhm.
exact same thing. I mean, like what you're talking about is very spot on. And I would encourage people to see whatever the short is instead.
I should mention you just threw out the word MIF, but
Yeah.
that's the Maelstrom International
yeah.
Fantastic Film Festival.
Yes.
And also, how interesting that we got two imaginary friend movies right around the same time. Because then Blumhouse had Imaginary, which
I
was the
know.
scary bear or something.
Yeah, I didn't
Oh,
see
right.
Imaginary, but I remember being very confused for a bit between the two trailers and being like, wait a minute, is this a horror film or is this a cuddly cute film? Like,
Both
I can't tell.
horrible, horrible titles.
Yeah, absolutely awful title. Like, Google If or Imaginary. I dare you. It's definitely not going to be your film that you were trying to market. That's for sure.
Probably not. No. Alrighty. Well, I finally got the box set I've been waiting for a long time from Severin, the clones of Bruce Lee.
All
Mm.
right.
So I watched the documentary, Enter the Clones of Bruce, by David Gregory, the guy who's done like Lost Soul and Blood and Flesh, and hundreds, literally hundreds of documentaries for Severin. Holy shit, is this good? It is so interesting
Hmm.
talking out all the way the subculture of this Bruce Lee imitators, and it is so much larger than I thought it was. It's like hundreds of movies going into the 80s and stuff of them trying to produce Bruce Lee movies that are obviously Bruce Lee is not in. Like some of them have, one of them has like his entire funeral is in it, like half an hour of footage
I remember this one.
plays through that. And then all the guys who have been involved with it, like Bruce Lee, Li, is probably one of the better interviews on there. And he's fun to listen to because there's a feeling of what am I getting into? It's like he was hard to get the interview with
Mm.
because
He's got to be 70 years old.
yeah, he's that yeah.
And
they're-
has he acted since that
Not
time he was
really.
doing that
It
kind of
sort
stuff?
of messed up his career.
Oh.
And he's good, honestly, actually pretty decent actor. But you could tell he went through a lot of shit for being the fake Bruce Lee. And as the interview progresses, you can kind of see him lighten up and understand that this guy talking to him loves these movies
Okay.
and is here to celebrate them.
Mm.
And let me tell you, this box set, it's 12 movies, 14 with the special if you order it directly from Seven. And I am so looking forward to diving into this after watching the documentary because I remember very few of them, but I do remember a few of them.
Mhm.
Well, I know what we'll be hearing about for the next several
Oh my
episodes.
God. It's
It's
true.
a very strong possibility.
We're about to go on a journey, folks.
That's right. I'll get back to your favorite director at some point.
Oh.
Got
I-
raw deals, something like that.
I watched the number one movie on Netflix this weekend.
Which one is it
Oh.
this week? It seems to be every couple days the number one.
It is Under Paris, which
Oh.
is a shark movie.
Yes.
Oh, shit. Okay, yes, I have seen stuff on this one.
Yes. So there is this group of researchers that have tagged this particular shark, and they're following her around. But when they finally see her again, they're like, this can't be her. She's 10 times bigger than she was. It's impossible for it to be her.
Hmm.
And then I must have snoozed or been looking at my phone or something, because then there were a bunch of sharks. I think she had babies, but then
Oh,
they catch one of these babies
yeah.
and the baby is already pregnant with hundreds of little sharks. And they're like,
Oh,
this
Okay.
is impossible. She's 2 years old or something, and there's no way she could even have the organs to have a baby yet. And so now they're let loose under Paris, where there's this huge swimming fest meet going on. And
oh my God.
basically, think of, if Paris was a small town and instead of this swim meet going on, it was like 4th of July weekend and the mayor didn't want to shut down the beaches. Well, the
Of
mayor of,
course.
of
What a
Paris
genius
can't
plot.
shut down this. There's people coming from all over the place to celebrate this thing with hundreds of swimmers in the water.
Jesus.
And hundreds of sharks, it turns out. One shark for every person.
Fantastic.
And it is really, really dumb. The sharks move either at a pace that is just over 0 miles per hour or 100 miles per hour underwater,
Oh my God.
depending on what the story requires.
Oh no.
And it's really stupid. The effects are startlingly good in some places, and then in others, you're like, that is definitely from Deep Blue Sea 3. It's like the same model that they used for that one. And then there's this amazing third act where they catch one of the sharks, and because in Paris there's all these unexploded mines and
Sure.
bombs and everything from World War II, and one of them gets set off, which starts a chain reaction of all these things blowing up, and it's blowing up all the bridges and everything, and then pretty soon Paris is flooding with hundreds of sharks.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, holy shit, this movie is about to get awesome. And then the credits roll.
No.
I was like, what the fuck just happened? I just sat through a real pile of shit to get to this amazing part of the movie, and that was the end.
Oh my God.
Under Paris 2, coming next week.
Well, you know what? I'd watch Under Paris too, because that sounds like a great movie. But this one,
Number-
really, really tough.
Number one on what is it with shark movies? And we love a lot of different kind of bad movies.
Yeah.
But there's something about shark movies that a lot of people seem to like bad movies of. A Jaws impact, maybe?
Well, yeah, I would say that for sure. What I really love are good shark movies. Like I like 47 Meters Down. I think that's a really solid shark movie. And I like Deep Blue Sea because it's stupid, but it's super entertaining, right? And
it's
great
self-aware
actors.
of
Yeah.
what is going on. Yeah.
And then there's those really bad ones like Black Demon and what was that one with the plane that went down that I was talking about a couple months ago. Those ones are just frustrating because I'm like, well, you guys wanted to make a cool movie.
Yeah.
And you missed the mark.
Oh.
Yeah, so this one, Under Paris, it's on Netflix. I doubt it's going to hang on to that top slot for long because a lot of people are talking about it and they're not saying very kind things.
Oh no. Oh.
Get it before it falls.
That's so unfortunate. Well, I am all caught up on Doctor Who's season so far. I think there's one more episode to the season, I hope. Otherwise, it's ended on a really crazy cliffhanger. And it continues to have what is becoming my favorite Doctor. Nshuti is, I think, how you pronounce his name, Gatwa. He's fucking on fire in this show. It's so
cool.
so good. He makes it so fun, and he does a lot of what you saw in David Tennant, where you would see this like bright, excited, energetic side that had this dark edge that would constantly kind of pull him back in. And there's moments where you can see that little hint of anger and that little hint of sadness, and he just plays it perfectly. So I cannot recommend it enough. It's a goofy show. It's always going to be a goofy show. The plot is goofy as fuck in every episode, but.
And sometimes they do horror really well.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, they'll pull out a horror episode and you're like, oh, jeez.
Yeah, they had an episode that was very Black Mirror recently as well. And it was mostly irritating because you hated everyone in it very much.
All right.
But it had a really solid like ending. moment. So yeah, like it's
Cool. I
they're
have to
doing
catch
what
up
it's
on.
trying to do well.
I need to catch up on those. I'm way behind.
So, as a fan of literally only the David Tennant era,
Yeah.
um, why is there such a turnover in the Doctor, the character? Or, I mean, the actors playing the Doctor. Why don't they want to hang out for 10 years on this show?
Well, some of them do. Some of them hang out
It was
for
there
3
for
or 4 years,
yeah, for
or
quite a while.
Right, and I
yeah,
like that. And then I hated whatever Matt.
Smith.
Yeah, I was just like, no, I do not like this guy. And I'm like, I just want. This sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Is it because they show off a little too much, and then movies come calling and
No, I
steal
think
them
what it
away?
is, I mean, it's almost like the role of being, an elected official. It's really cool, and you can do it for a couple years, and then I think the ratings
Hold
probably
on,
just
that's
start to
not
dip
how
in
elected
BBC.
officials work. I don't know
Right.
what elected.
I
I would have gone with
meant there's
James
like
Bond, maybe.
Okay, James Bond. Thank you. That is such a better. That's such a better analogy. Yes, no, more like James Bond, where it's like they're popular for a season, and then I think the ratings probably start to dip, and then they're like, okay, let's see who else wants to maybe play this. And
Mm.
I'm sure the actors also get tired because it's one of the shows that have way more episodes in it than a typical TV series in the UK. And usually, I mean, there's just tons of episodes per season. And now this one is only going to be 10 episodes, which is very weird for Doctor Who.
And the Christmas episodes
And
and
the
stuff
Christmas
like that. Yeah.
episodes, and they're always coming back. I mean, they started this season by having a Christmas episode that brought back David Tennant.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like,
Right.
I mean, you're kind of in it for life, for sure. But I think people society wants to move on, and they want to see who will be the next Doctor. And oh, this time it's, a girl, and this time it's a black guy. And, like, they're interested to see who will take up that mantle, and the story supports it. So,
Yeah, it sure does.
All right.
Cool. Okay, well, I've watched a new TV show last couple episodes or whatever ago. I talked about Evil, and now The Boys are back.
oh,
Boys are back.
man.
I-
I get stressed out just looking at the thumbnail. I'm like, I'm gonna watch it, and when I do, I'll blast through it. But it's such a stressful show.
I've seen the first 2 episodes.
Mhm.
I think there's 3 out at this point, and seems like the boys keep going, doing
Yeah.
what the boys do.
You're not feeling like. I'm starting to feel like superhero fatigue is hitting me so much that it's even affecting my enjoyment of The Boys.
Oh,
Because I
Oh.
was like,
Right.
I don't know why this first couple episodes didn't really grab me. And then I started thinking, is it because they've skewered everything they can of superhero movies, and that mine might be, or that well might be running dry? Or,
Could be, but I have, as we've discussed several times, I've been separated from the superhero movies
point.
for 3 or 4 years now. So I don't have that fatigue as much. This is the first superhero thing I've watched in a long time. So
Wow.
I think the last thing I watched was the teen version,
right.
the other show that they had.
V.
Gen V.
Gen
Yeah.
V.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like all the actors in it, and I like everything. And of course, Butcher shows up, and, about 3 minutes in, his first word is cunt. And I was like,
God
wow,
bless
that has
Carl
got to be a
Urban.
record for this show. But for some reason, this wasn't grabbing me. And I know this is going to be the last season.
I think he said 5
Oh,
would be
okay.
the last season.
I do love that this is a very hidden or disguised supernatural reunion.
Yes.
I mean, everybody in
There-
this is
yeah.
somebody from the Supernatural
Yeah, they've-
series.
They've got
Yeah, because
the
what
dad is in it
is he?
now.
Okay.
Forgot that actor's name, but
Yeah, yeah.
whenever he shows up, he's always great.
Yeah, and I know that like washed up like World War II guy is
Soldier Boy.
Soldier Boy, he's,
is
from
one of
it.
the 2 main characters from
Yeah.
Supernatural.
Well, because it's the same showrunner from Supernatural. So I think
Oh.
he's just worked with these guys for 20 years.
Oh,
And he was like,
perfect.
hey, you guys want to be on my next big thing?
Yeah.
Hey, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, you're
Jeffrey
not up
Dean
to anything right now, right? Walking
What?
Dead is, going away. And
Yeah. Oh, interesting. That's
oh,
amazing.
Jim.
Yeah, Jim
Beaver
Beaver.
played,
And he plays the same character's name in everything.
Robert Singer.
Yeah, Bobby Singer.
Bobby. Yep.
Which is, I don't know what that in joke is all about. but
Yeah, but he works it just fine. But so far, I'm enjoying it. I mean, it's just it didn't have each of the last season openers seemed to have that one moment
yeah,
where you're like, how did they get this on film?
Mhm.
And they haven't really had that. I mean, the one guy running around all over the place, but you've seen naked guys in this show plenty.
yeah.
But it didn't have that, which I thought was interesting. But I think part of it too is just I love watching Carl Urban
Yeah.
do his
Carl
thing
Urban's
in this. Just
definitely
so
my favorite part.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think that he's just such a likable actor
Yeah.
who's been in so many things that have almost
Yes.
catapulted him to
know.
stardom and then haven't for some reason, that it's nice to see him in something that's big.
I would
Yeah.
love it if he, okay, we're done with The Boys. You know what we need to do a sequel to? Judge
Dredd.
yeah.
Judge Dredd. Oh my God,
Dredd.
he was such a good Dredd.
Or finally get that third Star Trek movie.
Oh, there you go.
I would wait. I was fine with the third Star Trek movie. It was total bullshit,
Hey,
but
was there a third Star Trek movie?
yeah.
Oh, then
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean
the
the fourth one then.
Yes, a fourth one would be great. I would follow those guys for many,
Three Star
many
Trek
more
movies?
films.
All right, guys. Well, how about we take a little break then? And then when we come back, we are going to be talking about director's first or second films, as I understand this.
Yes.
You're watching the most exciting game you will ever see on your TV set. Telstar by Coleco with 3 different games. Telstar Tennis with digital scoring, variable speeds. Telstar Hockey. Each player controls a goalie plus a forward on the other side. Oops, a goal. And Telstar Singles Handball, a game you play yourself. Telstar Handball, Tennis, Hockey. All 3 at an exciting low price. For great family fun, hitch your TV to a Telstar by Coleco.
We have returned.
I need
Eric.
to be able to hear that clap.
I'm awake.
Eric, this was your subgenre pick.
Yes.
Want to remind everybody what it is again?
First time, or to make it easier for searching, maybe a second time filmmaker who's gone on to be known for something. Doesn't necessarily have to be something you like, but something big, something they've gone on to be.
Okay.
Oh, they directed that or wrote that movie? Okay. Cool.
All right. Well, I'm going to put 10 minutes on the buzzer for you. And go.
All right. So mine was released by, I think, Intervision, which is a sub of either Vinegar or Severin Films. I'm not sure. But this film with the funky title, Hey, Stop Stabbing Me.
Herman Schumacher? Dude, what are you doing here?
Hey, I'm out of school now. Graduated.
Entering the real world, like me, huh?
Flyer said you were looking for a roommate?
Oh, yeah, it sure did. Hi, I'm Blaine. Come on in. Oh, here's your room.
You mean I got it?
Yeah, I won't lie to you. We're kind of desperate for the rent right now, so make yourself at home, and I'll introduce you to the rest of the guys a little later.
Did you ask him about the funeral?
Huh?
You can take over on Larry's hole here. We had to let him go because forgot his tie.
You must be Herman.
You scared me.
You should be more careful. You almost dropped something. How you liking the house?
Pretty good. I've been meaning to ask you, though, what's the deal with the signs in the backyard?
To be honest, I don't get to the backyard that often. So what you doing?
All right, you should be in on this, too. I think Blaine may be a serial killer.
Whatever. Get your own comb, tit.
That's okay.
Come say hi to Herman.
Oh! Ow! I'm warning you, this. Ow! No thanks.
That's okay. I didn't really want to make out with you anyway. Maybe on the ride back?
Excuse me?
Don't like the way you dig, man. Making us look bad.
Well, maybe you should try digging a little faster.
So you're not gonna just let me kill you. I like that. We'll make a battle out of it.
Actually, now that I'm standing by the door, I was planning on just running to the police station.
Well, if you ever want to see her again, meet me in the backyard for a battle. To the death.
Hey! Stop stabbing me!
Quit stabbing yourself! Quit stabbing yourself!
Excellent.
Which is said in the movie. So, this was released in 2003 and has a Rotten Tomato ratings of nothing from no critics ratings, which is weird considering how popular the filmmakers are now, and 67 from the crowd, which I think might even be low.
Wow.
The budget on this was, depending on who you listen to, $200 or $500.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
All shot on mini DV.
Oh my God. Oh, mini DV.
This is currently available to be Troma or for rent. It's a little light for Troma. I was like, oh, okay, I guess. But this is directed by Josh Miller. You're not going to necessarily recognize what he directed. Four sad slasher movies.
Oh.
So 4 iterations of some sad slasher movie. And Sledgehammer at Dawn, which I need to check out.
Oh my gosh.
Now, Josh Miller also wrote this movie. You will recognize some of these. Maybe not Golan the Insatiable, but you certainly recognize Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2 and Violent Night.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Along with his writing partner, Pat Casey, who is in this film and is also co-writer of all those films. Pat Casey, you may know from Dorm Days 1 and 2 as an actor, Transylmania, and the sad slasher movies.
Okay.
Andy Hippa Chris. I just thought his nickname sounded interesting. He's been in absolutely nothing else. Maria A. Morales was in The Sledgehammer at Dawn. And Josh Miller was also in Dorm Days 1 and 2, Transylmania, the sad slasher movies, and Sledgehammer at Dawn. So this is, it starts with a wonderful joke on THX, Inglorious Mono. Like, I might be in good hands here for this film. The story starts out, a guy's moving out of his dorm. He has until Monday, as he's talking to his dad on the phone. Guy knocks on the door, says, hey, you have to be by 5. He's like, 5? Oh, okay, fine. Keeps talking to his dad. Guy comes back, I'll be out in 12 minutes. It's like, what? And it's delivered straight and fun, and it works. It's funny. I'm like, this shouldn't be as funny as I just thought it was. But this sets up for Herman to find his place to live really fast. He's picked up by hitchhiking with a guy who keeps joking about murdering him, which is one of those kind of like, you know how Simpsons does the jokes of 7?
Yeah.
Where it's funny, okay, I'm done with this. And now it's funny again. Yeah. This is one of those. He does it a lot. Stops by his best friend's place, who is getting married the next day, which is he didn't know because he wasn't invited. Why? Because the guy's new wife hates him. When she comes in and sees who he's talking to, he slugs Herman and knocks him down. All right. He does find a piece of paper in the street saying they're looking for a roommate. Desperately need a roommate right now. So he arrives. Hey, the room is fully furnished. Closet full of clothes.
Jesus.
2 Led Zeppelin posters on the wall.
Nice.
The guy who was threatening to murder him actually left with all of his stuff in the back of his truck. So now he's got a new wardrobe. And he calls for a job, and his major was something like world history. So he calls the guy up and says, yeah, I saw your job in the paper. I'm wondering what you're looking for. Well, what we really need is a guy who specializes in world history. Like, I can do that. Great. Have you never had any experience? Yes, I can do that too. Your job. Come by tomorrow. Make sure you're wearing a tie. So this is funny fucking movie. It's really clever. And for some reason, his job is actually just digging holes in the ground, but they all have to wear ties.
So good.
Okay. And he starts to settle into his new location. He's got a roommate who plays music. He's not very good. He meets a woman at a park or something like that, and her little brother is just an asshole, constantly beating him up and coming at him. And of course, he gets in trouble when he strikes back at the guy. The woman immediately, you can tell this was written by men in their 20s because she doesn't want to do anything else but go have sex with him.
Of course,
As you
that's
do.
how it goes.
Uh, but now you start to realize, hold on, is his roommate a serial killer? In the
Oh.
backyard, there's a garden, and all the things planted in the garden are people's names. And he's he's trying to find out who's stealing his socks. So there's some weird critter in the basement. But when he goes to the basement, it's like, I'm pretty sure they used the back of a sports arena to run around in, and then he runs out this weird tunnel. So it's just bizarrely clever in stupid ways, time and time again. The girlfriend automatically sleeps with all his roommates.
Sure.
And he almost catches them, but every time he sees them out of the corner of his eye, he looks back and they're like, fine, not doing anything. So it's quite clever. His friend comes to, I need you to kill my wife. Will you help me kill my wife? I hate her so much after 3 days of marriage.
Oh my God.
And so now his roommate is upset with him for something really weird. Like he kills one of the roommates because they left their clothes on the floor, and that really upsets him. So and it turns into this weird battle thing at the end with horrifically bad but wonderfully we're going for it fight scenes. And it's just a stupidly hilarious scene where the guy's sleeping in a lawn chair and he keeps trying to hit him with like chainsaws and stuff like that, but his extension cord isn't long enough.
Oh my God.
And it
That's
keeps
so good.
playing out, and it's funny as hell. I'm like, I really like this film. It was put out by amazing schlock film factory. Just because it's bad doesn't mean it can't be great.
That's their
That's
tag, their logo.
tagline, yep. The acting is actually surprisingly good. It's not great, but it's incredibly good for a $500 film. Everybody does what they need to do. The creators said the remastering of it made it look better than it ever looked. So they remastered I was surprised to read it was mini DV because
Yeah.
it looks really good. I just figured it was a high-end video, or
If you have
something.
lenses, you can make mini DV look good.
You can see they show the cameras they use a couple. It was the little mini DV cameras,
Oh,
like
really?
yeah, the little
That's unreal.
consumer ones you would buy at Best
Whoa.
Buy or something at the time.
Amazing.
So yeah, it's definitely no lenses.
Oh.
Excuse me. They started making, these guys were good because they started making short films for public access TV that they would start at the beginning of the week, had to be done and presentable live on screen Friday night. And they did that for 4 years.
Oh man.
So let's say it's just a public access TV show, and somehow these high schoolers got control of this one block, and they just let them do whatever they wanted to for 4 years. And it paid off. It hit me a little bit like Cannibal, the musical, where it's like, how, although that's a lot more elaborate. I'm like, how is this so good?
Right.
It makes no sense.
Mhm.
But it does. Let's see. Oh, they went to film school and got bored with it because they were ready to make stuff, and they didn't give a shit about all the stuff they were getting taught. So they just went and made this movie in Bloomington, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
As you do.
They've got a frequently asked questions thing on their website. Why does no one recognize your genius? We ask ourselves every day. Clearly, it is some kind of conspiracy. We have a theory that a gnome or gremlin or something of the like is living in our telephone and is evilly intercepting all calls from Stevie Spielberg. We assume he'll let us call him Stevie once we kill that gnome. So I would say if you love dumb, lowbrow humor, this is a must-see. It was, and part of talking it up is a little rough because I expected nothing.
Yeah.
So when it turned out to be good, it's like, my God.
So how did you see this again?
It was a blind buy from Intervisions.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure I think it's Severin, because they have this obnoxiously effective podcast where they sell their upcoming releases really, really well. And I remember them selling this. I remember hearing this from whoever put it out, selling it like, you need to see this.
But you said it's also on Tubi?
Yes. Yep. Tubi and Trauma.
Trauma.
Trauma TV.
I'm super familiar with Josh Miller because, and if you guys aren't watching this, and if you're not listening to it, you should be listening to Best Movies Never Made, which is his podcast.
Yeah, that's a good
and
one.
his partner in that is the guy that made that Sharksploitation documentary.
Oh, really?
And they just have guest writers come in all the time and talk about their projects they were working on, you know, the Spider-Man movie with James Cameron or all of these kind of things. And it's super, super interesting stuff if you're into films that almost got made.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't totally listened to it regularly, but I've listened to several episodes. It is really good.
They're just really smart. They're really funny. And their tagline at the end of every episode is, you know, we'll see you next week and we won't see you at the movies.
Nice.
Vanessa, you want to go next?
Yeah, I do. I'm a little ashamed of myself, I have to admit.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of really cool up and coming filmmakers who have done just a couple of things, but those things have caught fire. And I really wanted to catch up on this one particular movie, so I took this chance and watched Saint Maud.
Dear God, your presence graces the air, and soon everyone will see.
Hi, you Maud?
Yes, hi. It takes nothing special to mop up after the dying.
You're prettier than the last one.
But to save a soul, that's quite something. Bless Amanda's body and bless her mind, which is shrouded in darkness.
When you pray, do you get a response?
Oh, it's like he's physically in me. It's how he guides me.
My little savior.
Hey, I thought that was you. What are you up to? I'm a private carer. You're still nursing? What? They know what happened.
All the good girls go to hell. 'Cause even God herself.
I just want to see you loosen up.
I've got more important things on my mind.
There's my little saint. Maud, he isn't real.
Nothing worthwhile comes easily.
The good girls go to hell. I turn to ignore you. Don't say I didn't warn you.
You must be the loneliest girl I've ever seen.
I'm ready and open. I feel fuller of your love than ever before. I have a responsibility.
Oh, yes, of course.
This is life and death on another level. What if I'm getting it all wrong?
All the good girls go to hell.
From 2019. Yeah.
Feel good movie of the year.
Oh, 100%. This is an A24 joint, and it is the first film of 2 features this person has done. So, Rotten Tomato score, though, of 92% from critics and 67% from audience.
Hey, the same as my movie.
Yeah, same. I think I know why. Budget of $2.5 million, box office of $1.6 million. But I will say this is a COVID movie. I'll get into that more in the trivia. But directed by Rose Glass. She has 8 credits. a lot of shorts, and this was her first film. And then the second one is super popular right now. It's called Love Lies Bleeding.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of everywhere. So this is a good. It's nice to look at somebody's first when their second is super popular. I'm like, okay, how did you improve? What's different? Like with I know what the TV Close or whatever that movie is. Starring Morfydd Clark. Her name is spelled very funky. 29 credits. She was in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, Crawl, was Sister Clara in His Dark Materials, Mina in the Dracula miniseries, and of course played Galadriel in the recent Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Also starring Jennifer Ale, who has 67 credits to her name. I was like the whole time going, she is so familiar. Who is this? She plays Elizabeth Bennet in the Colin Firth Pride and Prejudice miniseries, which every female is required to watch at least 10 times. So I was
I was gonna say I haven't seen that one. Oh, okay. Okay.
Are you a girl?
I get it. I see.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. She also was in 5 episodes of Dead Ringers. She was in Sunshine, Zero Dark 30. She's been around. The story of this begins with a woman covered in blood watching a cockroach on the ceiling walk around. We zoom out to reveal a dead woman. Older woman is on a gurney in the room with her, also covered in blood. Cut to some time later, Maud is now a super devout Roman Catholic. She is entering a big house in a small English seaside town to do private care for a woman who is very, very, very sick. She's assigned to care for Amanda, who she sees as a real hedonistic person. We hear a lot of VO throughout this from Maud, where she kind of describes her thought process and her secret things, the ways that she thinks about different people. And she describes her, Amanda, as a B-list former celebrity who was a former dancer and choreographer in the US. This woman has stage 4 lymphoma, so is getting in-home care. The previous caretaker that she's replacing warns her as she enters that this lady is a C-word. But Maud finds herself totally smitten with Amanda immediately. She seems to be kind of attracted to her, and she turns that attraction into a desire to convert her before Amanda dies. This is difficult, as Amanda has friends coming in and out pretty much every day because she's only got a few of them left to drink and fuck and do all the things you might want to do if you know you're not going to be around very much longer and have money. She's also super enigmatic. And she kind of plays these head games with Maud. She feigns interest in her Catholicism, and it's hard to tell at first whether she actually cares or not. But you kind of have a sense that she probably doesn't. Maud is slowly becoming more and more obsessed with her and her own religion at the same time. She begins to hurt herself. So this is a form of Catholicism that people will like whip themselves and do different acts of pain. She burns herself. She puts a bunch of tacks in her shoes and walks. And these are all ways to get closer to God through her pain. One day, she runs into an old coworker from a local hospital who's shocked to hear that Maud, who she calls Katie, is still working after what happened. Through flashbacks, it may be that the woman in her care at the hospital was dying, and Maud did CPR and did it so hard that she broke through her chest cavity.
Ouch.
Yep. So it's hard to know if that's real or if that's her imagined idea of what happened, but I think it's real from just how much this girl's like, oh, you're working? That's interesting. So Maud's delusions of getting Amanda convert are broken after a birthday party goes terribly wrong. Amanda tells everyone that Maud is her little savior. They dress her up like a saint and make fun of her. Amanda then tells Maud that she's just trying to have fun with her and include her, laugh with her, not at her. But Maud feels very victimized, and it's hard to tell whether she was just trying to get her loosened up. Amanda tells Maud that there is no God, and Maud slaps her. Maud is fired. And she essentially falls off the Catholic wagon. She spends a night out just doing all the extremes. She fucks 2 different guys. She gets drunk. I think she might do some drugs. She's just out there to just get to the bottom of herself. And of course, the next morning she finds God again and follows some signs and believes that she could still get Amanda to turn back on that path. And that's the rest of the film is her attempts to do so. So this is a slow burn horror. It is not as shocking as I thought it would be from everything I heard about it. And I think it's also not as shocking to me because I know about this format of Catholicism. So I was like, oh yeah, tax in the shoes, all right. Oh, I guess that's the big crazy thing. Okay. I mean, it sucks, but the VO does give it a nice sense of humor, which I really appreciated. It really helps move it along. Maud is definitely a girl of extremes. It's like this person. Like people who just fall into something so hard and then they fall into something the opposite so hard. I enjoyed throughout this movie the religious iconography. I loved that the hedonistic woman had all the markers of art for a saint/godly person. She has her arms out like Christ at one point. She has a high forehead with her hair pulled back like the saints in Renaissance paintings. There's a picture of her from her dance where she's upside down and she looks kind of like the imagery of Peter when he's crucified upside down, where it's this sort of heavenly essence to her. And on the opposite end, Maud is always in the dark. She's got shadows. She looks like she's being tugged along by a devil/demon, if anything. And she seems to be worshiping God through a cockroach, which, by the way, I looked it up. Cockroach is used in Bible to represent sin, earthly desires, and humanity's fallen nature. So, yeah. There's just an effortless godliness about the people around her, and she can't achieve it no matter how hard she scratches at it. The girl who she used to work with, we see that Maud has stolen a piece of blue scarf or fabric or something, and she's dressing herself up like Mary in her mirror. And the woman comes by to visit, and she's just in the perfect blue and has these beautiful blue eyes and just instantly kind of looks like Mary. So I think Maud is going crazy. Anyway, trivia. This premiered at the Toronto International Film Fest. It was then acquired by Studio Canal and A24. It screened at Fantastic Fest and the BFI London Film Festival. It was originally scheduled to be released in April 2020, but due to the pandemic, was postponed until October 2020 in the UK and January 2021 in the US, and it had a limited theatrical release. It was originally shot in the taller than normal 1:6:1 aspect ratio, as the director had wanted. It was then reframed in post-production to widescreen 239, and a few shots were extended horizontally with visual effects. Film reviewer Josh Larson of Think Christian criticized the film, saying that it's interesting to me that aside from some of her basic devotional habits, we learn little about Maud's faith. If she was raised in the church, we have no hint at it. If she's acting out of a zealous recent conversion, those details are left vague. I think this disinterest in the nature of Maud's faith is a fault of the film, which could be accused of exploiting both religion and mental illness for ghastly thrills. Film critic Mark Kermode lists this as his favorite film of 2020, calling it an electrifying debut. Yeah, this is an interesting movie. It definitely... It's really good for a first film. Like, I mean, it's incredible for a first film. Like, absolutely incredible. But there's also, the pacing is a little laggy. It doesn't really have as strong of a story as maybe it could. It relies a lot on that sort of little religious tones, but I do think that it's doing an incredible job. So,
yeah, I didn't like this movie.
Yeah.
It's too fucking slow.
It's very slow.
And it's so fucking downbeat. And then at the end, I remember kind of sitting up because, all of a sudden you get a demon. I was like, wait a second. All right. This is what I was hoping was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then the movie was over 5 minutes later.
Yep. And all of that stuff is in her head anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it's a little frustrating when you can see through the I don't know, the cloth or whatever of like what is going on, and you know that this is all kind of BS, and it's fun and it's interesting. And you're like, fuck, dude, demon. Fuck, dude, like she's talking to God. Oh my gosh. But the God is speaking in Welsh. Cool. Very typical, I guess. Yeah, it's a slow ass burn.
Yeah. True. So have you seen Love Lies Bleeding?
No, but I'm hoping to very soon.
Yeah, me too. I did not realize that was also her film.
Yes.
It does not look, it looks like it is paced a little faster.
My hope.
Yeah.
My hope is so.
Just a bit. It just won't take much.
All right. Well, I am putting 10 minutes on the board. I chose for my film Nomads from 1986.
The owner was only here for a little while, but they did a good deal to the house.
It started out to be their dream house.
What do you think, huh?
A place to call their own. A home too good to be true. With a secret more horrifying than you can ever imagine. Nomads.
You've never run from anything in your life. Run from this.
They are here. They are a nightmare. But they are as real as the terror you feel.
They're nomads. Nomads. Here now in this city, in the middle of a modern city.
Leslie Ann Down and the star of Remington Steele, Pierce Brosnan, like you've never seen him before, in a terrifying story of the supernatural. If you've never been frightened by anything, you will be frightened by Nomads.
You guys seen this movie?
No.
No.
Could find no budget for it, but a box office of 2.3 million, which makes me think it had to have been a bit of a flop because it looks like it cost much more than that. Rotten Tomatoes critics give it 36%. The audience says nay, 37%.
Oh.
To which I say, you guys are all a bunch of fucking assholes because I ended up liking this a lot. It is written and directed by John McTiernan, who has 11 credits. This is his first film. He follows this with a little movie called Predator, and then Die Hard, and then The Hunt for Red October, The Last Action Hero, Die Hard with a Vengeance, The Thomas Crown Affair, and The 13th Warrior.
So what has he done lately?
Right.
Jesus.
Starring Leslie Ann Down. 81 credits, including Countess Dracula, From Beyond the Grave, and Gates of Darkness. Pierce Brosnan, 109 credits, including Mars Attacks, 4 007 movies as James Bond, and 94 episodes of Remington Steele. And Anna Maria Monticelli, who has 28 credits, including Smash Palace, Heat Wave, and The Empty Beach. It also stars Adam Ant, Mary Woronov, Frank Doubleday, and Francis Bay. The story goes as such. We start off meeting Dr. Eileen Flax, who is a smoking hot doctor in a hospital.
That Pierce Brosnan?
Nope. When what looks like a homeless man is brought in screaming and ranting and raving about something, all in French.
Oh.
The homeless man is John Charles Pommier, played by Pierce Brosnan. And this guy is so absolutely ridiculously handsome when he's dragged in. Sure, his face is dirty and his beard is a little scraggly and his hair is a little messy, but none of that can hide the fact that this is just a gorgeous man. If you saw this guy, homeless, on the street and he asked you for change, you'd give it to him. You'd ask him if he needs a meal and a bed, and then you'd invite him back to your house and make love to him after feeding him. However, Pommier dies quite suddenly in the middle of his rant. But we learn very shortly that he has somehow passed on his memories of the last several days in a psychic fashion to Dr. Flax. And the rest of the movie is going to be then told through her flashbacks of his memories while she's trying to deal what he went through.
Ooh.
So it turns out Pommier had just moved to Los Angeles with his wife, Nikki, after years of researching African and Inuit nomadic tribes. Nomads, in other words. Hence the title. He soon comes across a group of street punks and metalheads who apparently live in a black van down the road from his house where a brutal murder of a family has been committed, and this murderous activity seems to have attracted the riffraff. Pommier becomes fascinated by this group of punks because he's noting in them several resemblances to nomadic tribes, and he starts following them, taking photos, and this one night he catches them in the act of what looks very much like killing a man and dumping him in a dumpster. They notice him and give chase, but he escapes them, or so it seems. They find him again, and he kind of gets caught up in how fascinating and unreal they are. He starts taking their pictures, things like that, but it sours pretty quickly because it becomes clear that these are not ordinary humans.
Oh.
In fact, somehow they don't show up in his photographs, and sometimes they're not even visible to other people that they are around, which is really cool and creepy the way that this kind of gets revealed to you in the movie. His fascination turns to worry, however, as he becomes afraid for both his and his wife's lives, but also their souls. See, he's realized that the punks are actually evil spirits and demonic tricksters from ancient Inuit legends that somehow still exist in modern-day societies. They disguise themselves as roaming humans that no one pays any attention to because basically they look like vagrants. They're attracted by death and violence because they feed on fear and human souls. But unfortunately, once the punks realize that he is aware of that, they then try to kill him to take his soul and make him one of them. There is this great scene where he's sightseeing on top of a skyscraper with his wife, and then one of the punks shows up and starts taunting him, but his wife can't even see the punk. And Pommier starts grappling with the spirit. She's like, the fuck is going on? And he throws the spirit over the edge of the skyscraper, which has no effect because the punk just starts laughing and disappears as he's falling. And it serves to make his wife think he is a complete nutjob.
Yeah.
In the end, it seems that the punks have succeeded in killing him, but not before he's able to transfer his knowledge to Dr. Flax, with the psychic request that she help his wife escape from the demonic punks who are now after her as we enter the third act. Will Flax be able to convince Nikki that she is bringing a message from her dead husband, just as the punks surround the house and start breaking into attack? Will Nikki and Flax head for the California state line in a car chase scene with the demonic entities in their black van right behind them the entire time? And will the girls be horrified when they realize that one of the demons chasing them looks suspiciously like that of Jean-Charles Pommier? I tried to watch this movie when I was a kid, and it was just too much for me. It was too much story, too much going on, and I was not old enough to appreciate it. On this viewing, I ended up fucking loving it, and I felt like it had a real near-dark vibe to it, almost, that I wish I had been old enough to understand back then. I just really dug it. Taglines. Remember that shitty tagline that we all make fun of from that one movie at Crypticon? If you're not scared of this, whatever it was,
Yeah, I can't remember what that was.
I feel like that asshole wrote this tagline.
Oh,
This
no.
is on the poster.
Oh.
If you've never been frightened by anything, you'll be frightened by this.
They don't even say by nomads.
Nope, just
wanted to use it for 3 or 4 films.
Jeez Louise.
I have some trivia. Arnold Schwarzenegger stated in his memoir, Total Recall, that he was so impressed by the film's tense atmosphere made on a low budget that he convinced his producers to hire John McTiernan to direct Predator, which was Tiernan's next film. This
Good
was
call.
Pierce Brosnan's first leading role in a feature film.
Oh, snap.
The film is included in the book Fangoria's 101 Best Horror Movies You've Never Seen.
Oh.
Nice.
And the heavy metal part of the film's highly atmospheric soundtrack was composed by rock musician Ted Nugent, known as Weird Uncle Ted to everyone else in the industry. I think they kind of missed the boat. They had Adam Ant in the movie, and they didn't have him score the movie. That seemed weird to me, but I'm not a huge Adam Ant fan, but I think that this would have done well with his kind of funky new wave.
Yeah.
If you got a dark wave going in there, I think that would have worked very well. This is really cool. It is available on Prime. And as soon as Pierce Brosnan shows up, I was just like, whew, Oh my goodness. If any homeless man ever looked like this, I'd be like, I will find you some change, sir. I'll be right back.
Oh my God. Oh,
So, nomads.
I'm so glad you
Nice.
enjoyed it. And God, I really want to check this movie out. That sounds amazing.
It is also kind of a slow burn.
Okay.
But the reveal when you start seeing what these punks are, because there's no monsters or anything like that.
Yeah.
They're just these people, but they are doing unnatural things. And I was really like, oh, this was like the same year as Near Dark. I would absolutely pair this with Near Dark for an awesome double feature.
And it doesn't feel like they're doing any like hokey, slightly racist, like Native American or Indian or like
and in
tribal kind of
fact,
thing.
he is only he's only kind of comparing that to them. In the research I did, it said that they were Inuit trickster demons, but I don't remember that actually being said in the film.
Oh,
He was comparing them to that.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what his expertise is in.
Oh,
So I
Interesting.
didn't get that at all. Yeah, really cool. I'm turning my time off. I got a minute left.
God,
Because I know how to fucking play this game.
I am stressed out even just hearing it for you. This buzzer.
You know what you're going to be more stressed out about? I have the next subgenre topic.
Ooh, okay.
Dun dun.
And whenever I'm struggling for something, I fall back on either an actor, a director, or this time, a year.
Oh.
1982.
Okay.
Got to pick a film from 1982. I'd rather you didn't pick a blockbuster film from 1982.
Jeez,
You know, Star
really?
Trek, The Wrath of Khan, I would say let's not do that one. But just something genre-y,
All right, we'll see what's left.
1982.
Sounds a little
There's going to
narrow.
be a lot left.
Sounds a little narrow, but okay. Actually, 1982 is a pretty good year for film.
Yeah, I mean, especially for the stuff that we like, anything in the 80s. You're going to see me bopping in on 83, 84, whenever I'm lost for a subject.
I like that podcast we like so much that went away when they burned themselves out.
80s all over. That was the best podcast.
So good. I can understand how they burned themselves out, though. But yeah, that's great.
What 80 did they make it up to?
No, they basically. Do you know the format of that one?
Uh,
They basically talked about every single movie released in theaters
oh,
by year.
Per episode
No,
or
I
like
don't
one
remember
episode per
quite
movie?
how they broke it down. I
No,
don't
they
think it was-
didn't. They wouldn't have been able to do it by
No,
episode.
I think it was like
every 4
months
episodes
or
or
2 or
5
3
episodes.
months.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, they burnt themselves out because they were watching all of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's just like,
that's a lot.
It was really good, but yeah, it's just no
I
way.
loved that show because every time they talk about something I hadn't heard of, I'd just be right on my phone. I'm going, okay, I got to find this movie now.
Yeah. Yes, it's really good for that.
Okay, this is the part where we say thanks to everybody who's out there helping us spread the bandwidth.
Thank you.
Liking and sharing posts is one way you can do that. Getting on the Strange Hands Radio Talk page on Facebook is one way you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Commenting and hitting the thumbs up button on the YouTube, that's one way you can do
On
it.
the YouTube.
Or you can participate in the value for value model, which is you kind of figure out what value you get out of this. Maybe you get no value out of this. But to that, I would say, why are you still watching?
That's right.
If you get some value out of that, turn around, send that back our way.
And a little shout out thanks to Kevin for buying us some pizzas about a couple weeks ago. So thank you.
That was Kevin Bird, who also
Thank you.
is on the Strange Eons Radio Talk page all the time.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
recommends Cheese Whiz Rice.
I was so confused by that.
I assume that's because of the Jesus Christ episode.
Oh,
Probably, yes.
All right, I'm with you now. I just read that and I was like, what are we talking about here? But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. We really appreciate that. Everybody else, be like Kevin.
Be more like Kevin.
Yeah, except for you, Mom. Stop sending stuff.
Yep.
Okay, you can also reach out and leave us a message if you've got something to say. Maybe you like this episode. Maybe you hated this episode. If you want to leave some kind of nasty message for Vanessa, that number is 253-237-4266.
I dare you. I dare you to do it.
All right, gang. Next week we are coming back and we are talking about films from 1982. See you next Thursday.
Transportation and other considerations for Strange Eons Radio produced by Pan Am Airlines. When you think of traveling, think of Pan Am. You can't beat the experience. Guests of Strange Eons Radio stay at Econo Lodge Everett. It's an easy stop on the road, you know what we mean. Strange Eons Radio is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a positive review on your favorite podcast app. Sit, Ubu, sit.
I'm always down for like a good kids movie. I did not get it,